everyone. Okay, thanks. I just forgot what I was going to say. Busted. So I was working for the Secret Service, and we're going to shoot this guy. Let me back up. I do documentaries, commercials, training videos, and I was in Washington, D.C. doing a training video for the Secret Service, and we were going to shoot an interview with this guy. He didn't show up. So I had a paid day off in Washington, D.C. Now, about that time, I had taken up a game called letterboxing. What letterboxing is? You want to know?
What's letterboxing?
Thank you very much. Letterboxing, for the purposes of this story, there are about 13,000 boxes hidden all over the country. And the clues to find them are available online. And some of them are, walk down this street, find this tree, look under this rock, and some are in code, and some are these long metaphorical stories that you kind of have to go through and determine what's clue and what's bullshit. So it's an interesting hobby I got into after giving up Dungeons and Dragons. In Washington, D.C., I looked up the clues in Washington, D.C., and there's a whole bunch of boxes hidden in Washington. And I noticed one guy had done a whole bunch of them. So I sent him an email. Hey, I'm going after your boxes today. He sends me an email back. I'll tell you what. I'll send you a clue that's not available on the internet. And if you find the box, I'll buy you a beer. Bonus. So he sends me this clue, and it's this long story about how the Irish came to America in waves of immigration, and the first group of Irish built this part of Washington, D.C., and the second part of the Irish built this part of Washington, D.C., and it goes on and on and on. So I pour over this thing for about 2 hours, and I figure out that this box is hidden in an Irish pub somewhere in Washington, D.C. that has a bartender named Jacob. So I call every Irish pub in Washington, D.C. And the last one I get to says, no. He quit 2 weeks ago. What's your address? You can tell this is an old story because I'm using an old style phone. Go to the bar, talk to the bartender. He's got the box, score! Guy walks up, says, my name's Tom, that's my box, I'll buy you a beer. I bought him a beer. His wife and kids show up. We have dinner, lovely people, settle the check. Tom goes, you ever been letterboxing at night? No, I have not. This is great. There's a new box in town nobody's found yet, everybody's looked for. It's called the Vince Foster box. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, Vince Foster was an aide to Bill Clinton. For those of you still in college, Bill Clinton is Hillary Clinton's husband. And he was once president of the United States. I swear to God, you can look it up. Vince Foster committed suicide in Fort Marcy National Park. And the box is hidden where they found his body. Yeah, how do you like me now? So Tom and I head over to Fort Marcy National Park, which is across the river from D.C., and we go stumbling through the underbrush and find the box. Now it's dark. Dark, but not for long. As we come up out of the woods, every light in Washington, D.C. is poured upon us. And we hear someone say, "Do not move!" I've been told halt, I've been told freeze, I've never been told, "Do not move!" in quite so an emphatic a way. So I elected not to move. Which was a good choice because it was not only two guys from the Fort Marcy Park Rangers, it was two guys from the local Virginia police, two guys from the National Parks Police, and two very heavily armed guys in a black SUV who declined to mention their particular affiliation. So So they took our IDs and did a background check on us that took forever. I imagine they called up my 5th grade teacher and asked why I got detention in 1975. While they're doing that, one of the rangers says, "So what were you two guys doing in there?" So I'm thinking about the security clearance I have for my Secret Service job going out the window, and I figure I'm just going to tell him I was in there sucking his dick, because there's no cop I've ever met in my entire life who's going to believe my little treasure hunting story. That's when Tom pipes up and says, "Oh, my wife was out here doing a mommy and me thing with the kids today, and her keys must have fallen out. She can't get them. I usually take the train in, but I can't take the train in tomorrow. I got to take my car, and we can't get her car, and blah, 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 blah." And they buy it. The cops leave, the Parks Police leave, the 2 ninjas in the SUV leave, and we're standing there with the ranger. And I said, you know, just out of curiosity, why the big response for 2 trespassers? And he goes, "Oh, across the street there? Over there, that's the private residence of the Saudi royal family. Oh. Up the road there is the Kennedy family Washington, D.C. compound. And down here is the embassy of the country of Qatar." So we basically picked the wrong fucking place to illegally park. They let us go. Tom and I go our separate ways. I go into work the next morning thinking I dodged a fucking bullet, not getting caught. We set up for the interview, and the assistant to the deputy director of the Secret Service walks in and goes, "So, who went for a walk in the park last night?" Thanks.